Before we get into training, there's one thing you need to know about Charlie and why this conversation matters. As a teenager, a serious football injury forced him to abandon his dream of going pro. What began as rehab became elite level cycling, good enough to be invited to pursue it professionally in France. While battling depression and an eating disorder, he realised his heart wasn't in it and walked away. Then he discovered Hyrox and everything clicked. I resonated with his story because I went through a similar injury at a similar age. And that shared experience shaped this conversation. So the first thing I asked Charlie was how he structures his training and which sessions actually give him the best return on investment.
Yeah, so I've always any sport that I've done, I've always responded well to sort of a higher volume. And Hyrox is no different to that for me. So if you look at the top 15 guys, I'm going to use my hands here. So if you're listening, then just try and picture it. Just imagine a line, and at one end of the line is volume, and the other is intensity, and it's like a volume intensity spectrum. And everyone sits at a different point in that. Some people are on one side and they really don't do much volume, but it's very intense what they do. And some people do lots of volume and not as much intensity, but both will compete at a very similar level in Hyrox in the competition because it's such a unique event where you are blending several different energy systems and sort of strength and endurance elements essentially. So it's not like a marathon, like a marathon runner where pretty much all of the top guys, it's they are all just running very high mileage. Um, which kind of leads on to the way I train, which is a high volume approach. So the last 3 weeks building into this, or well, 4 weeks building into the Phoenix Major that I'm going to next month has kind of been a 24-hour week, a 25-hour week, a 26-hour week, and a 25-hour week. And in peak weeks, I will try and tend to stick to that sort of volume. Um, and they all kind of look fairly similar in the fact that Monday will be a double threshold day. So this is like operating right on your sort of LT2 level. Um, and it's kind of the paces or intensities that you can sustain for 40 to 60 minutes. So kind of like that half marathon-ish pace. Um, Not that I'm running a half marathon in 40 minutes, but yeah, so that Monday will be a double threshold. So it'll be something like um, 10 by 4 minutes with 1 minute off at like a 3:25 minute pace running. And then I'll do the same session, but just on a bike at that threshold pace. And then in the evening on the Monday, I'll do some sort of lower body work. So I really stack a hard day on Monday. And then on the Tuesday, I'll follow it up with just a zone 2 endurance day. So that'll be like 3 hours on the bike, 2 hours on the Stairmaster, and an hour on the elliptical. So 6 hours of just zone 2, very monotonous, boring volume, but it does help. Wednesday will be an easy bike and then an upper body strength. Thursday will be very similar to Monday. And then Friday will be another easy day. And then Saturday, I'll do a very like high rocks specific session. So I'll be running into station, into running, into station, stuff like that. And then I'll follow that up with sort of a lower body specific high rocks work. So sled pushing, lunges, wall balls, etc. And then Sunday is always my easy day. So that'll be 60 to 120 minutes of just zone 1, really easy work, just recovering. Because I always find active recovery better than a full rest day. Personally, for me, that's what works for me. And repeat. So that's how my training week goes. And I'd say the best or the key sessions for me are those threshold ones, just because if I can accumulate as much volume at that kind of race specific intensity, it will carry over into my races. And if you can train like you race, it will make the racing easier.
That's really interesting. That's a lot of hours. I mean, I do like 45 minutes of zone two on the bike, and I'll be so bored. So 6 hours is that's incredible. I don't even know how you can do that. Do you listen to like Netflix or something like that when you're doing it?
Yeah, so I always try and any like boring, monotonous tasks I will save for like those zone two sessions. So a lot of emails get sent when I'm doing them, or I'll respond to certain messages that I need to get back to, or organize certain things, or if I've got accommodation and flights I need to book for the next event, I'll look into them there and I will watch like that's my time where I'll sit down and I'll watch a YouTube video or a Netflix that I'm interested in. Like if I found a movie on Netflix that I'm like, I'm gonna really enjoy that, I will save it for when I'm on the bike or when I'm on the elliptical and I'll watch the movie there and I can just zone out and happily watch that and just keep on just a little eye on like my watts or my heart rate and just make sure I'm still pushing hard enough or not pushing too hard. And that kind of just gets me through, really.
Yeah, I think that definitely gives the listeners a bit of comfort because if it was just 6 hours of just sitting there, then yeah, I don't know how you would do that.
I have I have done one session before which I kind of look back on and think that was a bit stupid where I thought if I just don't watch or do anything for 4 hours on the bike, like if I literally just stare into space, it will mentally harden me. I did do the 4 hours, but it just mentally zapped me, and now I look back at it and I'm like, "Well, no, just watch Netflix, just do something rather than just staring at a wall." So yeah, like if you find something that entertains you and like you can get invested in, it does make the time go a lot quicker.
Of course, yeah. And with the high volume you mentioned earlier, do you think the reason you do that is because you can just handle it, like your body can just deal with that volume, or is it more of a case of you just respond so well to it, like you just see a direct proportion between how long you train and how much you train and your performance?
I'd say both essentially, but I can handle the volume just because my whole life I've kind of had a high volume approach. Even when I was playing football as a kid, like I'd do a preschool club like before school, and then I'd play football at lunch times, and then I'd do an after school club, go home, eat some food, and then go to football training. And like the school was about a mile or so away from my house, so I'd like run there and back and whatnot. Um, as in like my football training was where my school was, so I'd run to and from football training, and then cycling, that was massively high volume. Like some weeks were 26, 27 hour weeks. And that's just purely aerobic volume. That's not like the gym work that I do now as well. So I've just become accustomed and used to training that much. But then, like you said, I do see a very direct correlation with the amount of time I spend at X intensity, the better I get. And the amount of volume I do, the better I get. So it is just riding that line between continuing to progress workouts without injuring yourself or getting burnt out, essentially.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, that is amazing as well that you can handle that much volume. When you're planning your programs, is that something you do yourself? I mean, I heard in like an interview that you did that you were training to do like a personal training qualification. So I don't know like how interested you are in sort of the anatomy, physiology, and things like that, and whether you structure your own training.
So, yeah, so through my whole journey as a professional athlete, I've always been my own coach and self coached. So, I've become so confident in my knowledge of myself and then also my knowledge that I'm learning of the way that the body works and how sports works that I can coach myself. I'll bounce ideas off of other coaches way more knowledgeable than me and just like reassure myself that I am doing the right thing and they agree with it. Um, and I've always said that up until the point I plateau, I will remain self coached because if I'm still improving and still getting better and still getting faster, then it's clearly working at the moment. And then when that stops happening, then I know, right, I need some more expert opinions to come in and help me. So yeah, I'm my own coach, and I have been my whole career really.
Yeah, I'm sure that's very rare to find being your own coach at that higher level of sport. In terms of like marginal gains, this is something I'm really interested in. People call me crazy for doing like very small things to improve sleep or just to improve my health as a whole. How much do you prioritize things like sleep, nutrition, and just all the small things outside of your Hyrox training?
That's a very good question and a very good topic because I see a lot of people like pursuing the very like top percentages, like getting cryotherapy and having all these like expensive supplements and whatnot, but then they're only sleeping for like 5 hours a night. And people pursue the one percenters like at the top of the tree without picking the big fruit at the bottom, which is your sleep, your nutrition, and just your overall stress. So sleep, since I've gone full time as a athlete in Hyrox, has been the one thing that I've really tried to work on and improve my sleep routine and whatnot. And yeah, people might call you crazy for it, but at the end of the day, you're the one that's trying to optimize your life essentially and like live a healthy life and become a better athlete. So yeah, sleep's always an important one. So like no caffeine after midday, for instance, is a staple for me. And then I'll always try and like at the moment I've got the blue light filter on my devices, and then sometimes I wear the blue light glasses. So I think approaching a marginal gains is like it's important if you really want to pursue the top, but then just nailing the fundamentals is the main key for me.
For sure, yeah, I completely agree with that. If you haven't got the foundations down, then there's no point trying to micro optimize. But it feels like holding a mirror up. Like I just never hear people saying like the blue light filter and stuff like that. It's really funny to hear.
Oh no, it's like because it's kind of a little rabbit hole you go into. Like once you see one thing that would benefit you, you're like, oh, that might do it as well. And then you have a YouTube video pop up, and it's, oh, this is cool as well. I'm gonna follow this, and then you actually learn how much of an impact certain things have that you'd never expect to have. I was used to sleep none, but in winter now I have to close it because there's a street lamp down the road that keeps me up, and it's tiny things like that that actually have a massive impact on your sleep. Um, so yeah, it is quite incredible how many things you can optimize to levels. The 1% in performance, like your like sodium bicarb or your beetroot juice or your broccoli extracts and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, no, it's cool, and I'm invested in it as well.
And because you are at such a high level at the moment, do you think you can contribute a lot of it to that? Obviously, the foundations are important, but there obviously is something in you that is just getting you to that top level. What would you say it is? If there was just a few things that you can name that has separated you from the rest and got you to become one of the best athletes on the planet, what would you say that is?
I think you, the moment you can externalize why you're doing things, is a very like powerful motivator for me. So a lot of people will be motivated by, oh, I want to prove them wrong, or I want to like show them that I'm better than them, or I want to beat them. And it's all like, I want to show you wrong, I want to beat you on a da da. But the moment it kind of really switched for me was I was in a really hard training session and I wanted to quit it. But then I thought to myself, like, I get to do this. This pain I'm feeling in the race or in training is like it's completely of my own will, and I'm choosing to do it, and I can choose for it to stop by stopping. But there's a lot of people out there who would love to be in the situation I'm in, where like pain is a choice. Like there's people who have terminal illness. There's people who have been involved in accidents and can't walk properly now and stuff like that. And once you can realize that you get to do this and you get to pursue this and it's a choice and that pain is a privilege, it completely nullified my brain to what hard actually is. So now when I've got a really hard session and I am just struggling through it, I realize I get to do this and this is like a choice. So that's one of my key things that I think has helped me get to the top, like knowing that this is all my choice and I get to do it. Um, and from a few things in my childhood, like when I was going through a quite a depressed state after my football injury and whatnot, I I realized how much I miss chasing the top when I can't do it. So when I can do it, I now need to appreciate that this isn't going to be forever. So I want to get to the top and I've not got forever to get there. So I need to really push on and just do my best in the here and now.
Yeah. Oh, I completely understand that. I'm in a very similar situation, to be honest with you. I know it seems like I'm just saying everything, I feel the same way about everything, but it is true. Like, I always think back when I'm doing a run, I think back to my injury, the amount of times where, like, I'd watch my mates running in PE class and all this kind of stuff, and I just, like, be just filled with anger because I couldn't do it. So it literally is that I get to do this. I made a YouTube video on that, in fact, and my mates were saying, like, oh, they were making fun of me and stuff, but it's the truth. Like, some people are way worse off. And the fact that you've got the ability to push yourself to the limit, that's like an absolute honor. And it shouldn't be taken lightly.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I can appreciate that genetically I'm like a very good athlete, just outright. Like I've just got a very good genetic makeup. Like any sport I've done, I've succeeded and done really well at. And there's lots of people who are completely fine. Like they don't have any ailments, they don't have any illnesses, injuries, but they're just never going to quite get to the top level because just genetically they're just not there genetically. So there's so many people that are fit and healthy, but still want to be where I am. So appreciating that I'm in a very fortunate situation that I've not got any injuries, not got any ailments, and I've got a body that is fairly well suited to sport and to perform. It all drives that motivation that kind of keeps me not quitting and just being relentless and pursuing the top. So no, yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. And going back to your injury, do you ever feel regrets? Do you ever look back and think, oh, I just love football? Like, I wish that's the thing I pursued. Or are you satisfied with where you are?
I I wish that I never got the injury. Um, just because it still does cause me a bit of pain today sometimes in my knee. And like I loved football and the happiness I had whilst playing football was just immense. And it will always be the sport I love the most. Um, just I loved the camaraderie of being in a team and I I just loved when the weekend came about and like school finished on a Friday, you'd go home and then you knew that you had football at 12:30. You had like soccer Saturday, you had football at 5:30 and then all the Sunday kickoffs. Um, so I do I don't wish that I never stopped football because I'm very happy with how things are now. But I do wonder what if I never got the injury? Would I be sat at home still, or would I be like playing for Brentford or playing for Crystal Palace or playing for someone a bit lower down, like I don't know, Walsall or something like that? You know what I mean? So it's I don't I don't regret anything, and I'm happy, like incredibly happy with how things have panned out. But I do wonder what if.
Yeah. No, I understand completely what you're saying. It's like, yeah, you just never know what could have happened. I suppose maybe it can give a bit of comfort that, it could have gone the other way around where you just maybe got fed up of football and you want to pursue something differently.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you do just never know. But I can 100% see how it is difficult to deal with an injury like that. And I mean, the story that I heard of the injury, if you want to share it with them, it just seems so stupid what happened and the way it came about.
Oh yeah, so we were in the cup semi-finals, and I think I always remember the score being 5-0, but I think it was about that. And I was on the left wing, and we were 5-0 up with like 5 minutes to go, essentially. And there was one defender on the opposing team who had had a really like tough game. Like our striker had been all over him and whatnot, and I think he was just very frustrated. And the ball came down the line to me, and I twisted to turn to run onto it. And as I twisted, he just came straight through the back of my left knee. And obviously, people can picture it when you're twisting and someone comes in on your left knee and your foot's planted. It kind of is not a great ending. So it was a very stupid incident, and like it's just one of those things. You can't change it, and you kind of wish it never happened. But yeah, it's a shame. And then for it to my like meniscus to re-tear like within a few months of coming back is kind of the cherry on top, really. But no, it's just one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And as much as it was extremely painful, do you feel like all the things you went through, do you feel like you grew as a result of it and you're able to push yourself harder now?
Yeah, I think I never suffered with depression or anything before that, but after the injury, I became very, very depressed, and I later developed an eating disorder, which kind of stuck with me for about 3 years. Um, and like I was just depressed all the time, anorexic, struggled, and I was like that through my cycling career. So I have no idea how I managed to get to that level in that state. But looking back at it, all of that kind of has made me who I am today, and like mentally I'm more resilient than I was. And I think back to those times and I just never want to be there again. So like it kind of drives me to drives me to push and drives me to perform and chase the optimal, really.
Yeah, of course, I see what you mean. And moving back onto Hyrox, now that we've sort of seen your story, for those people out there who want to get into Hyrox, I'm sure they'll be inspired from your story now to get into Hyrox. What would you say are the key things getting started with Hyrox that can get you from a beginner to intermediate and then hopefully advanced?
I think the key the key thing I'd say is don't go all in too soon. Like dip your toe into it and kind of work out if it's something you want to pursue, because it's got to the level now where if you want to get really good at it, you kind of have to give up on doing other sports and whatnot and kind of have to train like an athlete for Hyrox. So dip your toe in it, see if you like it, and see if it's something that you'd want to really pursue properly. And then beyond that, I'd say is know your level. So get a baseline, do some baseline testing, like 5K testing, or even a simulation that you can run to the exact same standards 6 months down the line, and then work off of those baselines and appreciate that it's going to take a long time. Like I did my first race in the middle of 2021, no, 2022. And like there's this whole like sub 60 pro, which is like using the pro weights and getting a sub 60 time with it. And from that 2022 period to February 2025, I'd never gone sub 60. So that's what, basically 3 years, just under 3 years. And I'd never gone sub 60. And then from February 2025 to now, so 10 months, I've gone sub 60 8 times, and I'm now one of the best in the world. And I went from being nobody then to now one of the best in the world. But that didn't happen in that 6 months. That happened in, or 10 months. That happened in the 3 years beforehand. So you've got to appreciate that that overnight success is going to take years beforehand. So play the long game. Don't rush into it too soon, and just have a very gradual, measured approach to improvement.
For sure, yeah. I think the key takeaways people can get from this podcast is that your past is going to help you shape your future as much as you can be in tough times. Would you say you believe that everything happens for a reason? Would that be fair to say that?
Yeah, I think yeah, I'd say that everything happens for a reason, and there is a reason for everything. And at the end of the day, it's like it's how you respond to whatever's happened. You can either lean into it and push on, or you can just let whatever's happened sink you. And I think it's a testament to a lot of people that have been through hardship and then come out the other side and become great. So yeah, I'd say everything happens for a reason.
For sure, yeah. It's just how you deal with it. And would I be right in saying zone four, the threshold training, that's the key thing for Hyrox if you want to improve your performance, the most return on investment?
Yeah, I'd say that moderate zone four effort, not absolutely burying yourself in zone five, running as quick as you can. It's that sustained, uncomfortable effort, and literally being able to just incrementally improve that week on week, month on month, year on year. Like that's how all of the best endurance athletes or middle distance athletes in the world, that's how they've got better. Ingebrigtsen has done that year on year on year on year, and now he's one of the best 1500-meter and 5000-meter runners in the world. Christian Blumenfeld has done that year on year on year on year, and now he's one of the best long course triathletes in the world. And you can say that for pretty much any endurance athlete. They just do that incrementally and just commit to the long term process. You're never going to become the best in 3 months. It's going to take years, maybe even decades.
Yeah. So zone four training, everyone, make sure you're doing it, and make sure you get the foundations as well done. As Charlie said, before you try to micro optimize, make sure you got the key things down, and then if you really do want to be elite, you can always push that a little bit further. Charlie, it's been an absolute pleasure. Could we just finish off with the last thing I'm sure everyone wants to know? What does the future look like for you? What have you got in store for us?
Oh, good question. Before I finish, before I say that, I want to say thank you for like having me on, and then also it's very good to see someone like your age, like back when I was in like a sixth form age, doing this and like interviewing people and really trying to find like ways to optimize. It's like really refreshing to see. So I just want to say that to you now, and it was great to chat to you in person at the Hyrox event. So no, it's great to see that. But then also going on to the question, the future for me, I want to go to the World Champs in Stockholm and finish on the podium in either one or both of the elite races. So the elite solos and the elite doubles. And then if I am selected to be in the English relay team, try and win that as well. But then long term, I want to be Hyrox world champion in 5 years' time. Is my goal.
I wish you all the best, and well, I guess we'll be seeing you on the podium in Stockholm then.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed in 6 months' time.
Thank you very much, Charlie.
Perfect. Pleasure, Ronan. See you later.